Yep.
But yeah, what have you guys been getting up to in the hobby? I mean, I imagine what Ben's been getting up to, but
Terrain, just working on getting. We've got the Williamsburg Muster coming up in February, and just trying to get as much table ready terrain printed out, and at least getting a smattering of color on them as possible. I know that the terrain is not the most important part of the event, but trying to do as much of this like in house, like in community as possible without having to call in too many favors. And every time we run something, it gets a little bit easier to handle, and dealing with a couple of you know personal issues and things that have made that a little bit more difficult than I was expecting. But all in all, we're it's coming along. Got a trying out a lot of new things, like a lot of new designs that I've found, and some of them I really freaking like. Some of them have been interesting to try to learn how to print because they are fucking weird, but it's been cool. So working on that. I haven't really done much um, hobbying for me personally, so I'm probably gonna end. I had a plan to run a new army for the muster, but that's just this a pipe dream at this point.
well, how many spots do we have left for the muster at this point, Ben?
That's a good question. So I have, we have been given by the group that runs the event. We've been given a cap of 30 players, and we are at 24 hard yeses and about let's see, six soft yeses. I consider a soft yes anything that's not they're saying maybe, like, it depends on this, that, and the other. Like, I
Yes, but
want to,
hasn't
but I
paid
got
for a ticket yet.
hasn't paid for the ticket. Has not. It just it's a little bit subjective as to what's a hard yes versus a soft yes to me. But um, to be perfectly honest, I expect somewhere in the 22 to 26 range to actually show up. I don't think we'll actually hit the 30 between just all of the unknowns, but from now until then, even if people sign up, and then of course as some of us have kind of seen and had to deal with, like the pandemic still goes, people still getting sick, so there's a possibility that some people could be laid out from that. So but either way, the response that I've been getting from people has been overall very positive. Everyone's really looking forward to you know getting back and like just seeing everybody again. So I think that that's actually kind of in my favor. Like, I'm not too worried about all of the minutia of the event, as long as as long as the big ticket items are taken care of, and they will be. I think everyone's just gonna have a good time, like shooting the shit, rolling dice, and getting back into the swing of things and acting like
Mm,
things are a little bit more normal this year.
yep. I myself have a big box of terrain that you gave me to work on, and I'm embarrassed to admit that I have not touched it yet. But I will fall back on the defense that I've been sick as fuck this week. I actually had a negative COVID test, so it apparently was not COVID, but
Or
I
you
was.
or you've passed it, or you got through it fast enough. Either way,
Yeah.
like people like my company ended up having like 25% of its workforce this past week end up popping positive last weekend, and then a couple of others like that just got sick. So, and I've known plenty of people who have gotten just the flu and the crud, so, or as it were. So I mean, you know that stay kind of safe and take care of yourselves one way or the other. Like
Yeah.
it's more than just the big C out there. Like, people still getting sick, and I don't want to get the flu.
Yeah. I mean, apparently, obviously the at home COVID test, because that's all I could manage to find with like immediate results. That wasn't going to
Yeah.
cost me like $300. Um, it apparently was not COVID. So I mean, at least that's what I've been led to believe. I know those aren't like 100% accurate, but it's what I've got to work on. So apparently it was just the normal flu, because I was having all kinds of weird symptoms that turns out was just the flu, and I got my flu shot and everything. So like, who knows?
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mean, the regular flu will still fuck you up.
yeah. So I'm going this week after work to pick up some spray paint to base coat and prime these buildings with hopes of hosting a community. Well, at least I don't know about community, but at least have a few of you guys over next weekend to sit around and paint some buildings. I'll get all my oil paints and enamels out, and we can just have a blast with streaking and dry brushing and do all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then after the streaking, we start painting.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it is Portsmouth, so, you know.
Yeah, they really just don't care about public nudity. Like, oh, they're not brandishing a weapon or actively doing drugs? Let them be naked.
You know, it's one of the great things about Portsmouth.
It's true.
We used to have a steady song, Portsmouth is for people. And it is indeed for all kinds of people, including nudists.
Including nudists. So, Ben, I want to try to promote this a little more on the podcast. Maybe get some of the Remembrancers Retreat guys on here, or vice versa, get some of us on there to talk.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't you tell us a little bit more about the muster itself and kind of what games we're looking at and what kind of prize support we might be expecting.
Sure. So the Williamsburg Muster has been around for a good long time. In fact, let me, if you'll give me just a moment, I wasn't expecting to.
I will not.
I will not.
Well, that's fine too. You're allowed. So the
Heck, I was
Williamsburg Muster
finished
has been
playing.
around for many years. Like I remember, before I was a part of it, officially, back in 2013, 2014, I went with one of the local game stores, Atlantis Games and Comics. I went as one of the vendors, and it was. We're not talking about a huge convention, but it caters to a few hundred people every year. Usually has a dozen or so vendors, and it's kind of it does have a couple of tournament style events in there, but for the most part, it's a lot of free playing games and a lot of people just running like demos of mostly historical or these very like kind of off the wall like historically based boutique style games, and for a while it was kind of interesting to me because like I was one of the youngest guys there. Like of course at the time I'm like in my mid 20s, and like the average player here was probably in their 40s 50s and 60s and older in some cases. So I was like, wow, this is an interesting kind of unique experience. And of course you know you want to enjoy your hobbies for as long as possible. So it was really like it was a comfortable experience. It's like, wow, it's really neat that you've got all of these gamers getting together still enjoying themselves in the later parts of their lives, and that's really like comforting to me, like these people are still doing that. So anyways, so I started like not as a participant but as a vendor. Trying to remember what year it was. It was probably 2015 2016, but the guys from Richmond actually ran a small Heresy event there, and I participated, and we had a good time, and it was great. But they chose that they didn't want to continue like doing it, so they were just going to drop it, and I thought that was not smart. So I reached out to them, and I reached out to the group that actually puts on the event, and they're called the Old Dominion Military Society. It's a group of gamers located in Hampton Roads. And they ran multiple events throughout the year. This was just the only one that I was aware of at the time, and they gave me the go ahead to run the Heresy event, and I've been running it ever since. Not just by myself, of course. I've had help from some other locals in the community, namely Mike Ledoux, and for one or two events, Richard Lansendorf helped out a lot, and of course you guys when you've been around. Um, excuse me.
We're rich.
So the we kind of got in and stayed there as like it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek sort of thing, because the event was really geared towards historicals, and Heresy is like the historical version of Warhammer 40k. So it's just it's history that hasn't happened yet, and that's just the way that we've kind of joked about it. But it's actually had a really positive effect on the event in general, because of course it supports the event, because we're paying entry fees, and we're usually getting between 20 and 30 people there every event, and that helps keep the event going. But it also brings in like younger participants, and it's getting them involved in other games, and that's also a really positive thing. So the group has been really like just thankful and positive the whole time, um, and they've really been encouraging me and the groups that I've been kind of associated with to to participate. So um, like I said, this year we're looking hopefully for around 30 players. And we're most of the way there already, so I have no reason to believe that it's not going to be a well-attended event already, barring something unforeseen. But there's a lot of games that, quite frankly, um, I've never heard of. So there's going to be the bigger games that are going to be represented, of course, Warhammer 30,000, and there's going to be a bolt action tournament. They used to hold a ninth age tournament, but that has kind of waned out of popularity. So the group that does that has not been as interested. There's going to be other games there.
Last time I went, sorry.
Excuse me.
Remember last time I went, there was a big game of guys fighting out the Boer War on tabletop. Last time,
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
historical tables.
Yeah. Usually they've got some guys there running BattleTech. Some people end up taking X-wing. The Gaslands crew that's local usually has a table or two set up. I believe that's there's a lot of Osprey games, and if you're familiar with Osprey publishers, they have a lot of kind of off the wall games, and some of them are they have a tabletop game for basically everything. Like if you want to do something that involves minis and a roll of a dice, they've got something that's going to scratch that itch for you. So Gaslands is really cool. You basically build your own little like Mad Max car and race it around, and try to actually try to finish a race without crashing, which you will not do. I've got a preliminary like event primer here, but like I said, a lot of these I have no idea what they actually are. Some of them sound really fucking cool. Let's see, a dreary New Year's Day, where let's see, the Pierce column attacks Brookborough RUC barracks January 1st, 1957. It's an urban skirmish 28mm game with homebrew rules, kid friendly. Let's see, yeah, some of these are just groups of people make homegrowing their own rules, which is neat.
I'm into it.
Let's
So
see,
what about
Carnage
the sorry, not to cut you off. What about the Heresy primer? What kind of armies are we expecting to see at the Heresy event?
Well, the looks like it's going to be a pretty well diverse cast this event. It usually is. th- I don't ask for lists ahead of time. That's just as there's just too much logistics involved in that. So I kind of rely on people to not be dickheads, and I try to make it pretty obvious throughout the marketing for the event, like what the event is supposed to be. As you guys are very familiar with my play style, and how I tend to run stuff. But what I've seen in a lot of the Heresy community is just, it narratively themed, kind of more community and thematic events are really what drives us. So that's a nice way of saying, like, don't come and bring like a dick kicker list. Like, I try to keep these events very open to players of all experience ranges. So almost every event that I've run here has had veterans and people who are fairly new to the hobby just in general. So I want to make sure that it's a fun and engaging experience for everybody. And so far, it's been pretty successful in that. But I've a lot of obviously there's going to be a lot of different legions represented. I've got a couple of militia armies and no mechanicum yet. So and no demons. Oh no, one demon list is coming. Luckily, it's from a very experienced and knowledgeable player who I know very well. So I'm not super concerned because demons are really frightening.
But the armies running are going to be run at 2,500 points, correct?
Oh yeah. The armies are going to be 2,500 points, standard Crusade army list. If you wanted to run one of the other, force orgs, like you can. Usually, people talk to me first. I've made the decision not to allow the fan dexes, like the stuff that came out of Australia, like the Asuriani orcs and Necrons, or nor the Mournival rules. And I've had this conversation with a bunch of EOs, that are going to run it, like the Nova Open and LVO, and like as neat as they are, and they are really fun. It's just really difficult to run an event and expect, especially one that you're inviting new players to, like they may already be having a hard time like picking up the intricacies of different rules and such, and then try to throw in these advanced like non-official rules on top of it. That's a hard sell.
Yeah, I did see that in the LVO events they were doing some like Mournival, like Centurion Plus events. And I saw them on their Facebook group getting absolutely fucking destroyed by people of like, what the fuck is Centurion Plus? Why am I playing fan-made rules? What the fuck is this bullshit? Like, it's just a conversation you don't need to have.
Well, not for what this event is. Now, there's definitely room to incorporate some of those influences and some of the work that those groups have done. I personally love what they've done.
Agreed.
And I enjoy it, on a personal and like in a intra-community basis. But running events with it, I think, is very difficult because you just don't know. If you want to maintain a broad appeal to people outside of your immediate community and of varying skill levels, like you have to appeal to the common denominator, and that is in this case like the official rule sets. So it just makes life so much easier from a logistical standpoint. But yeah, it's going to be 2,500 points, standard army lists. The only restrictions that I typically put in place, like I have put in a restriction, no Primarchs. And I've talked to the one Mechanicum player about don't bring Scaria, who is basically a Primarch. And nothing that has a ranged D weapon, so and no knight armies. Like you can bring a knight as a Lord of War or an ally or whatever, but not as a full army. Like I just
yeah, so long as it fits within the 2,500 point, like 20%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the 25.
I don't know how many knight variants fit under 500 points. I'm not super familiar with knights.
Most of them.
Paladin,
we still have a Questoris.
Okay.
Pretty much all of them can be taken at 2,500 points, and fit,
Gotcha.
and a lot of them work really well. But some of them are not as balanced. I have a personal just disdain for the D weapon. Like I think it's just poorly made in a non-apocalypse setting. So I try to
Yeah.
dissuade that. And we've had a couple people over the years bring them to poor effect. Like it made the games just not fun for the people that had to end up playing them. So I try to curb some of the worst excesses. And then the only and then there's restrictions on fortifications. You can bring the Aegis defense line, the Prometheum relay pipes, and the bunkers, but leaving all of the rest out, primarily because the larger pieces are just hard to place and play with. So
And
we
since we're
don't want to
trying to
have
fill the tables with terrain before you get there, we're not gonna like move the tables around to accommodate your fucking
Fortress of Redemption, like
yeah.
You're trying to
or
spread out in 2 by 2
you're
square.
yeah, exactly. You want to bring your Castellum stronghold, like you know what? Talk to me beforehand. We'll incorporate it into the terrain of a table, but I don't want to. I don't want to have to deal with it like day of. Like, well, I paid for it, like motherfucker. Do you know how long it took me to print this shit? Like, but
Much less
but
paint it.
yeah.
So what kind of prize support are we looking at for this event? And what prizes are gonna or what prizes are we looking at?
Okay, so if you have been to one of the major Williamsburg events that I've hosted in the past, you will be well acquainted with the prize support. Y- Sometimes we get some ancillary prize support from some of the local game companies, or when I say game companies, like some of the brick and mortars. And while that has been great, it's been super appreciated. The problem runs in is that we've got players coming from all up and down the Eastern Seaboard. So having store credit to a local shop is not super duper useful. So I kind of stopped reaching out to them, and I am getting the price support is being supplied by KR Multicase. If you are in this hobby for any period of time, it doesn't matter what you do. You're always going to need some sort of storage solution, and while there are definitely some well, no, your opinions may vary, and there may be some technically higher quality cases out there. Like I will always stand by the opinion that I think that bang for your buck, like you can't beat KR Multicase. And they have just been super nice. Like they have back during the very start of the pandemic, when lockdowns had been in effect for a little while, and like people were getting really demoralized. I ran a couple of like local community little events, like try to get some like painting and hobby done. And I reached out to them and was like, hey, I'd like to buy some things. I was wondering if you would be interested in, or allow me to get a discount on it because it's coming out of my own pocket. But this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep my local community entertained and give them some product. And they were like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Like, don't even worry about paying us, we'll just send you some stuff. And so they sent me a couple of boxes worth of little like a couple of different trays and full cases and half cases.
Yeah,
They have a
I will
a unit of
say
it.
I will
Yeah.
say that like I'm not generally a fan of foam cases because just the way that I think about my figurines as like miniature art pieces rather than game pieces. I don't really like the idea of putting them in foam. But
Sure.
that said, if I were to buy a foam case, it would probably be a KR case because the foam that they use is very soft. It's not harsh on your miniatures. It's more reminiscent of like it's not as much like the battle foam, like super hard kind of just trays. They're like little like blocks. It's more like the old pluck foam that you would get, but it's even softer than that. So it's not gonna like it's gonna contour to your models better, and it's gonna like cushion them rather than like let them jostle around and abrade on their paint jobs and varnish. So
Like,
if you
I
are gonna
have-
get a foam case, I would say KR is probably the way to go.
Well, I mean, all things equal, like I own a fair amount of battle foam, and I own a metric ton of KR. Um, and they are both really good for different reasons. But generally speaking, I get way more out of my hobby dollar from KR, and I've always been really impressed by their product, and the fact that they have been just so nice, like very easy to talk with, very willing to help out communities with prize support and stuff like that. Like good customer support will win me over, and they have that in spades. And on a personal level, they've helped me when a couple of things like have messed up in like transit. They've been like, yeah, we'll take care of that, and we'll deal with the missing pieces later, but we'll just go ahead and send you another thing that you ordered, and we'll figure it out. And so they've been super cool. But yeah, we're gonna have a couple of different pieces from them. um, the Usually I get 3 or 4 different cases of different sizes, including the big winner will take home I can't remember the name of it, but it's a backpack case system that has 3 of the KR card cases inside of it, and it will easily hold more than 2,500 point Legion style army. Um, so it's going to have a good amount of 32 mil infantry boxes, 40 mil infantry slots, and some basic vehicle foam in there. And of course, you can always get your own and swap them in and out. But I try to keep it relatively generic so that anyone who gets it will get some use out of it. But yeah, like we're gonna have one of the participants has offered up a couple of other like door prizes that we'll throw out for just for some ancillary prizes, just so that people feel like they can walk home with something cool, including a couple of Forge World kits, and I think there's going to be some painting supplies on hand as well. And I think I'm going to, if I have the time, my intention is to get some unpainted, some nicer pieces printed up as like door prizes too, like terrain pieces,
Yeah,
or some bases.
I will be giving out a couple of personal prizes, not the least of which being the painting award. I'll be personally judging all of the painting and things like that. So
completely unrelated to the event, Jake just really likes judging people.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, he's not. It's not a judging for the event. He's just going to be judging your stuff personally.
Yeah, and then you just win a prize for having pleased me, not event notwithstanding.
So
no,
do we say that Bonnie wins or loses that off the bat?
I mean, generally wins, but I mean that's an everyday win. So
generally. So yeah,
so to be clear, the painting award will be given to what I feel is the best or like the most technically executed fully painted army. However, that is not a requirement for the event. We are very welcoming of non fully painted armies for this event. You just have to be fully painted to be eligible for the painting award.
Thanks for touching on that. Like, if you're listening to this before the event, like, for this one and for future events, because we're planning on running another one in, in Williamsburg in October as well for the Call to Arms convention. But while painting and hobby effort is always impressed upon in the Heresy community, I don't want that to be a burden or a real barrier to entry. Like this is meant to be kind of like baby's first convention, like not to to simplify it or demean it, but like I don't want that to keep you from coming and enjoying yourself. And the fact that I'm actively trying to push this out to newer, less experienced players, like I don't want them to be set back and be like, well, I don't have 2,500 points painted, I guess I'm not going to go to this event. Well, no, like you should totally come and I feel like you're going to get a lot out of it because I know most of the people going personally, and they're all fantastic people, and like you're going to have a good
Except
time.
for me.
Case in
Say
point,
what?
I'm giving out the
Except for
fucking
me,
painting award.
I am not fantastic people, but I will be there.
Ah, you're fine.
Gray, if any of us are more than one person to be considered people, it is you.
That was the joke that I was thinking in my head. I'm glad that you just went with it. I do appreciate that. But no, it's
Case in point, I'm going to be giving out the painting award, and at this point, it's looking unlikely that I will have a fully painted army for the event. So just take that for whatever it's worth. But that will be because I will be slaving away trying to paint some awesome terrain for the event. So there's that. At least you'll have that as a consolation prize.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel free to mock me as you see fit.
And we most certainly will. But
I have no doubt.
The event right now, the convention runs from February 18th to the 20th. So it's a 3-day event. There will be a
not on Valentine's Day this year.
Oh, thank God. If for nothing else, it's going to make dinner at the Outback Steakhouse way less awkward.
Dinner at the old homestead too. The nights after.
Also, yes, very true.
You can eat full at home.
But
there is a tradition of having Outback Steakhouse dinner the night before and then having cookout lunch the day of. So just so you know.
So and every year I try to make a scene at Outback, and so far I've done a really good job of that.
Did you get kicked out one of you?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. But the entry to the Heresy event, if you are still on the fence and listening to this, it is $30, and that does include the entry fee to the event in general. So like you'll get full admission to the event and all of the extra that stays with us goes directly into prize support.
If you're one of those like classic Hammer or old Hammer gamers, this is a great opportunity to pick up some old stuff. For example, last event, I think I picked up like almost an entire Sisters of Battle's worth of rhinos in like armor that was like Rogue Trader era almost. Like it was either Rogue Trader or like 2nd edition. Like it was old tanks. And I scored a bunch of those at the last event. And I'm still kind of figuring out where I want to work those into my armies. But old metal Rao Partha minis, lots of old classic stuff that you may not be able to find somewhere else. Old Warhammer blisters, fantasy, pewter models, like all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, if for nothing else, just getting to look around the market and see what kind of old Hammer stuff is around is worth the cost of admission, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, there's always lots of weird stuff, but I mean whether you come for the Heresy event or just curiosity's sake, like everyone there that I've met over the years has been just quality people. Everyone's there just to do what we all enjoy, and that's get around the table, talk and and roll some dice and just have some fun. And like you're gonna find games that you will not find anywhere else, or you have never experienced before.
I will tell you, as a slight spoiler alert, I will be bringing a Lord of War to this event, and I will be having available airplane bottle shots for people that destroy it. So just know that's coming.
Well, I just plan on being kind of lit the entire time anyway. So,
I mean, that goes without saying. For what it's worth, anybody coming from out of town, the admission to the hotel is very affordable. And I highly recommend. I don't know if it's going to be feasible for me this year, just based on what's going on with me, but I highly recommend coming in at least the night before or staying the night of the event, because there'll be after hours gaming, drinking, talking, gaming.
Oh yeah.
Like I probably said gaming twice, but I mean gaming, like Heresy gaming and also other gaming. Like go play some fucking Gaslands. It's a good time. Like
oh yeah, no, we there's always time for like open play, and we usually don't run any other like planned Heresy games, but there's always room for open play, and like there's a plethora of just weird and fun games that people are just just having a ball with. So
to be clear,
it's
the
worth it.
Heresy event is actually like the Saturday, so the February
Yep.
19th, I believe.
Yep, it starts bright and early. We usually get started a roll call around 9, and that's just so that because we do have people coming from all over. We get started and we usually run until about 6. It's a 3-game event. And it's at the Clarion Convention and Conference Center in Williamsburg, Virginia. Like I said, $30 gets you in to the Heresy event. If you are just interested in coming to the convention, you can go to, I believe it's odms.com, and you can register there. And I think pre-registration is $20, and then it's $25 admission the weekend of. So totally worth it. Even if you're just coming to come say hey, like it's well worth the time and investment.
Oh yeah.
I think everyone here has been to either the muster or Call to Arms in the past. Have you not?
Yeah, at least one.
Yeah.
I've
been to one, and I enjoyed myself greatly. Ed and I played
Eric
the
got
world's
accused
longest
of being a power gamer, so that's always fun.
I am gonna wear that badge with honor forever.
I'm looking right now at hotel room bookings for the Clarion Williamsburg. You can get a single king bed for as low as $84 for the night. So,
and I think if you call them directly and say that you're going to the muster, like I think you get a discount.
Yeah, so it might even be less than that. So very, very affordable housing if you're coming from out of town.
Affordable
It is.
housing.
It's not like it's not the Ritz-Carlton, but like that's not what you're coming for. Like it's very the accommodations are fine. I will say that their breakfast leaves a little bit to be desired, but that's
there
not
is
what
an
you're there
Outback
for.
Steakhouse directly next door that we've been on the verge of getting kicked out of at least twice, so that's always a good time.
They definitely made some people angry with my God Emperor of or make the Imperium great again speech. That didn't work as well as I thought it would in public.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed it, so I don't know about everybody else in the Outback, but
no, it's a good time though. Like I'm really excited. Like this is going to be the first like real like games day that I think a lot of us will have get to experience over the last or for the last 2 years. So
outside of like Garage Hammer, yeah,
I think that this is going to be like I think a lot of people are just really going to enjoy themselves.
Last thing to touch on, what kind of COVID precautions can attendees expect?
So I am not I am not one of the official like event runners. Like I'm just in charge of the Heresy side of things. The group that is running it is they're going to be putting into place a couple of precautions, nothing too stringent right now. Of course, we're going to be following any of the official mandates, which at this time are really there aren't many. So they're going to have numerous like sanitation stations, hand wash stations around the convention area. Tables are going to be spread out a little bit more than usual. Masks are encouraged, but not required. At this moment, there's nothing like a vaccine mandate or anything like that. I'd be very surprised if they implemented one, just knowing what I know about the group and the people involved. So be smart. You take care of yourself. Like if you're feeling sick, like don't risk it. Always better to be safe than sorry. As much as I would love to see absolutely everyone attend, like we got to be cognizant of the situation and the reality of the environment. So be smart. If you are able and willing, wear a mask. And if you're not, just be smart about it. That's about all I can say about it.
Yeah, all right. Sounds like a good time. I'll be there. It'll be great.
God willing, I will be too.
I think we all will at this juncture.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, but that's about it. I'm working to finish the. I should finish up the players packet probably tomorrow or Monday. Probably going to keep things rules wise or mission wise fairly simple. I don't feel the need to kind of do anything funky like I have in years past when people were going to events left and right.
War of Alternate Truths is my particular favorite.
I was just reading that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. When you said there was games like you've never had before, I remember playing fucking War of Lies.
War of Alternate Facts.
Yep, War of Alternate Facts. That was the one from I think 2020.
2019 probably.
Or 2019. No,
I don't remember.
It could have been either. I don't know.
But, no, it was 2020 because I remember painting my fucking Land Raider Fall Boss for it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And having that fucking excellent game with Caro from Richmond.
Oh yeah, that was
her World Eaters and Night Lord Shattered Legions. That was a fun fucking game, dude.
I have never seen a more dictionary definition of mansplaining in my life. It was perfect. You were
hey man, look, I gave my opponent advice, they followed it, and it worked out exactly as it could have possibly. And
I know,
I mean, what? I mean, that's
was this
that's
the game
a game,
when you told
man.
her how to beat you?
Yeah,
when she did it?
Pretty much. I don't know.
He mansplained how to beat him, and it was so good.
I don't remember if I honestly don't remember who won the game. That's all I remember about it is hey, look, if I might make a suggestion. Shoot that quad las cannon at my assault squad. You might cause enough casualties to cause me to run off the table. And damned if that didn't exactly fucking happen. I was like, oh, we got ourselves a game, boys.
Oh, yeah.
It was good shit. I had a fucking blast. That's probably one of my favorite games of Heresy I've ever played.
Oh yeah, no, I have there have been very few cases of people having bad experiences at these events, and honestly, I can say quite honestly that the only bad experience was due to one particular player who is no longer a factor. So I feel like having run these for a number of years now, having that sort of record, that's really positive. Says a lot for the just the quality of the community that we have access to. And that's
out of curiosity, how many Maryland boys do you have signed up for this event outside of Lily?
2 right now.
Is one of them Jake?
Yes.
Yes.
So yes. I will say that this event has or this year's event is kind of is a little bit it excites me because it's not just people that I know. There are going to be some people that I either know through maybe reputation, or we may be on some of the same Heresy boards or Facebook pages or something. But there's just people that I've never met, I don't know, and they're willing to make the trip just kind of sight unseen because they've heard good things, and that's huge.
That's the best compliment you can get for sure.
Yeah, that's a huge compliment. That is really what drives me to continue doing this. The games are fantastic, but whether we get a new edition or whatever happens,
whatever.
I'm gonna find a way to roll dice doing something. And the community is really what drives any of this. Without a good community, it's not even worth trying. And so I keep telling people that's why I play Heresy. I've not found a gaming community that is just more welcoming and positive overall.
Yeah, I've told people this before, especially newer players that are especially in the days of COVID where gaming at a store isn't necessarily an option. I've told people coming into the hobby, I don't think there's a single person in this community whose house I would not go over to play a game. Like, and I don't know that can be said of every gaming community out there.
Oh no, I mean, you've got bad apples, in every community, but like just overwhelmingly, the people that I've met and just how people conduct themselves at these events. I don't mean just being polite or anything. I just like their philosophy behind enjoying these games. So it meshes with my personality and my philosophy on gaming, and it's worked out so well. Like I've met so many really good people, um, because of the work that I've done at these events, and the people that I've met. Like not only did I get to go to the Nova Open and the last time it happened and got to enjoy the shit out of myself, but now I will actually be on the event team for Heresy at the Nova, and that's a big deal to me. Like I like
Yeah.
getting to be a part of that is huge, and like hopefully that will grow and give me opportunities elsewhere. And like not only me, but like I do feel very strongly that helps the local community as well. Like people know that the Hampton Roads Heresy group, like they're legit. Like they are a well formed and put together group of players. Like, and like there's respect that comes with that. There's
like for example, like not to, this is not like I guess it is a fucking humble brag to make myself. I have been asked by Mark to help judge the armies out at Adepticon this year as well, and I expect that I probably would be asked to help at Nova also.
Oh yeah, Mark's a great dude. Like
yeah, and just... like in Adepticon, at least I know I'll be judging armies alongside the likes of like Miles from Low Legend and stuff like that. So like that is a huge honor for me to be even considered for that kind of position. And like I'll be trying to paint something for the Nova Open charity raffle this year as well. So
yeah,
keep a lookout for that.
Yep. All right. Well, we have definitely talked the praises of the muster like enough. So